All right. Episode 28. I don't know who number 28 is on CL Sports. Who
I
wears the
think
number
how
28?
about the Walter Thurmond episode?
Oh, did he play cornerback or
Yeah,
defensive back?
he was a former Duck who played corner for the
Walter Thurman the
Seahawks.
third.
The third, yeah.
There you
I'm
go.
pretty sure he was number 28.
Yeah. By the way, this is Kevin and that's Brian, and we're talking about random Seattle sports athletes. By the way, do you know the difference between a defensive back and a cornerback? Or are they just the same thing? And is there a
I
correct way to
th
use it?
I well, I'm not a football coach, but I believe defensive back would refer to anyone in the defensive backfield. So if you play nickel and outside corner,
Yeah.
you would maybe be a defensive back. And
Yeah.
then corner, I think, is more like old terminology for the outside corners, and because then you have the nickel back
Yeah.
on the inside.
I almost want to say it's almost like when you see people say wing instead of forward or
Yeah, or
combo
like
guard or
right,
something like
yes.
that. There's different
Yeah, yeah.
ways to
Yeah.
explain it, and you don't really only understand it if
Yeah.
you're in the game.
I do want to say before we get into what we're doing
Yeah.
today, I'm ashamed because I knew this was the case, but I was hesitant. I was
Yeah.
gun shy. It's the Geno Suarez episode.
Oh, yes.
Good
Yes.
vibes only, which I need to
Yeah.
say out loud because my
Yeah.
vibes, like my life is good, Kev, but my Seattle
Yeah.
sports life quickly plummeted this week after the last weekend. Like the Seahawks and the
Yeah.
Kraken's last game was bad. They played great against the Bruins, which I went
Yeah.
went to. It was very fun.
Yeah.
Thanks, Drew. But yeah. Anyway, so good vibes only. Geno Suarez in my top 10 Mariners all time.
Yes.
Kev, what are we doing today?
We are doing a mailbag. So Brian did the legwork. I didn't have to do anything. He got all the reader questions. We have
Well,
enough readers that we can rely on to give us content, right?
yeah, yes. So we're gonna give my wonderful sister a lot of credit here. She just basically takes my request and then hits up her friend group.
Nice.
Probably like a couple listen. Shout out to them. Don't know which
Yeah.
ones, but she at one point even said like one of the people asked about the Mariners and whether we were pessimistic or something. She's like, clearly not a listener, which is awesome. Yeah. So shout out to Caitlin. Great
Thank you.
work.
Thank you for getting us
But yes, the rest
questions.
the rest is my family and friends. Kev got
Yes.
brought absolutely nothing to the table this week. So here we go. All right, first question, Kev. Am I going to ask you and you kick it off and then we'll go from there? How about that?
Yeah, that
All right.
works.
All right. We can just go back and forth. We don't have to
Hmm.
officially take turns. This is a leftover from last week, so we had to lead it off with it.
Yeah.
Okay. So we didn't talk about this last week. And it's potentially a big news story in Seattle sports. Jewell Loyd requested a trade, I don't know, about a week and a half ago. Um, I went on some Reddit threads. Uh,
Nice.
yep. And it seems to be pretty well confirmed, whether this is like official or not, that she's the person who requested the investigation or filed the complaint against her coach, Noel Quinn. It seems to come around a bonus that she would receive if she averaged 20 points per game. She was very close, and she got benched a couple times and or something. That's her belief. My belief is, hey, how about don't shoot 27% from three, and you would have averaged 20 points per game.
Yeah.
Um, the question is, why is she asking a trade? Which we kind of answered. It seems like she's upset at her coach. She's ready to move on. I don't really know besides that, other than in sports, people just request trades all the time now when things aren't perfect. But should this Storm trade her, or should they play hardball? And then part two, what could they get? Who could they trade her to?
Okay.
What do you got? What do you
So
got?
I think the first thing is I don't think that I mean, when you say hardball, it's like to call her bluff and have her be a team player and play the
Yeah,
season.
like, I mean, how does it go
Yeah,
if they
I
don't
don't
trade
think
her?
I think it's done. I think
Yeah.
she's poisoned the locker room by filing the investigation, and I don't want to say she loses because I think that there's reasons why she did it and we'll never know the whole story. But I couldn't imagine the Storm trying to move forward with that hanging over their head and this tension between Jewell Loyd and the coach. Like
Right.
the best way to contrast this in my head is to think of Draymond Green and the headache that he is with Steve Kerr and the amount of public disputes that they've been in. But it's always come around where Draymond has, said, I'm sorry for my actions, or Kerr has covered for him and said, we've worked it out. This isn't that situation. This got like publicly put out there. Lloyd's never said anything publicly about it. The
Right.
Storm haven't said anything. So that just there's that's me saying I don't think there's any hope for option A to go to happen.
Yeah, it seemed like she in some capacity was pushing for this investigation. I don't know
Mhm.
if she was the one or not, but she's upset.
Yeah.
They hire an external investigator or internal. I don't know. It wasn't very clear on who investigated. It didn't sound very,
Well, the way I think I read this that a law firm did it,
yeah.
and from my understanding, what they do, what would happen here is and this is just guessing. I
Yep.
don't know if this is what happened, but an organization would hire a law firm. The law firm would do the investigation, kind of independently, is the thought, right? It's
Right.
not
But it
totally
but it
independent
wasn't
because
clear how
yeah.
independent it was,
Yeah.
which
That's the
yeah,
always the gray, right? You don't
yeah,
know if it was influenced or that sort of thing.
yeah. And then it seems like Jewel's mom was upset all year long. These
Yeah.
are again, this is Reddit threads, people
Yeah.
looking at social
Oh,
media.
you were deep.
Yeah, I was deep. But if Quinn didn't get fired,
Yeah.
Jewel was gonna ask out, right?
Yeah.
That seemed to be what happened. And so
Which
they didn't fire Quinn, and now Jewel's asked out to get traded, and it's been real quiet since then.
which is kind of surprising that they did just fire Quinn because WNBA teams have not been shy about just firing
Yeah.
their coach and finding a new one. And I don't think anyone was necessarily thinking um that this is the head coach to
Right.
lead the Storm to the WNBA championship. I don't
Right.
think there was any thought about it, and no one would have. I wouldn't have criticized the decision to let go of the head coach. Um,
Right. Yeah.
yeah,
But there's probably more to the three,
yeah,
right? NECA, Skylar, and Jewel not getting along.
hmm
Nobody really says anything about Ezzy Magabor, who I read on Substack, the Storm Chasers, who do a great job, but
yeah.
they were kind of proposing like building around her, and she's
What do
just,
you think?
to me, she's not good enough. Like,
Yeah,
sure, and they kind of alluded to this. If you're going to do that, you should have drafted last year and not traded the
yeah,
pick away, right? Like, you should have
yeah,
drafted Rickea Jackson, who's good. You should have tanked and tried to get Paige or
yeah,
somebody this year.
yeah,
Honestly, like, the college ranks are so good with the people coming up. They should trade Jewel. I would propose Chicago, where she has roots, um, and try to get the number three pick back. I would love something else, like
yeah,
somebody I saw propose like Elizabeth Williams, who's pretty solid,
yeah,
in the number three pick. Like, cool. I'll just take the number three pick, honestly. Like, I'm ready to rebuild. I don't want this like treading water,
yeah.
make the playoffs and get swept.
You gotta hope that they can drive up the market for Jewell Loyd. It's
Yeah.
tough because the WNBA contracts, I think the limit is 3 years, and I don't know with the new CBA what's gonna happen, and I don't have Lloyd's contract in front of me, but
She's the highest paid player in the WNBA,
okay, so then that's
which
the
is
other
insane.
thing. Like
That's insane.
because you're gonna take a hit, right? You're
Yeah.
you're you're gonna take a hit with Lloyd. She is the sixth highest scorer in the WNBA. She averaged more points last year than Caitlin Clark, Sabrina Ionescu, Kelsey Plum, Brittany Griner, Kennedy Carter. So she's a premier scorer.
Yep.
If she works on her 3-point shooting, that average probably puts her in the top five, like you just said. So I think there's a case to be made, but I don't know if someone's going to give up a draft pick. If you're savvy enough, I don't think you give up a draft pick unless you're trying to win now, right?
Right.
So and you're not for a team that's trying to win now. I guess the WNBA is small enough, but I don't know if you're going to get a high draft pick from a team that's trying to win now. If
I
you
mean,
catch my drift.
Chicago, I feel like should do it. I
Yeah.
mean, it changes their trajectory. They already have Angel Reese and they already have Cardoso from last year. Do they really need another young player? Like, no.
Yeah.
So to me, and in some ways, LA, the Sparks should do it,
Oh yeah.
right? They got Brink. She's coming off injury, but they have Rakia Jackson. Like, I guess you could build around three young players, but I feel like at some point, once you get the two young ones, you're like, okay, they're good. Like
Yeah.
Reese and Cardoso are good for Chicago.
Yeah.
Carter might come back because the coach is gone. She's a free agent, but go get Jewell Loyd. Maybe
Yeah.
give up more than the number three pick. I don't know. You're right. They should try to drive it up. I think if Lloyd's not the number one, I was just looking up. She might be the number two average value, but she's a top two contract in the WNBA,
Yeah.
which to your point is really going to make it difficult.
I would
Interestingly,
yeah, go
though,
ahead.
you don't have to trade equal value. So as long as someone can house her under their cap or however that works, and also this is tricky because the CBA is being negotiated right now, so
Yeah.
probably no one's going to make a trade right now until that's done. Um, but if you could fit her, it's fine. You could trade away the number three pick and nothing else and take a max contract person on. It's fine.
Yeah.
Whereas the NBA, you have to match up to a certain point.
Yeah.
Um, so
This was a good question.
yeah, I think she's gone. I think she's
Yeah.
gone, and I think I would love a top five pick. I think the draft is good. I think every year it's going to be good. I would tank with that pick,
Yeah.
and I would try to get another top five pick next year and just build from there. And I would keep like Megabor and I don't know, resign Gabby Williams. Sure. Like I
Yeah.
don't know. There's not a lot of options. Like they're not going to be very good. So
This is really funny. I'm writing a notes column for tomorrow morning, and I had already written about Jewell Loyd and my thoughts on like eh, how do you get another corner piece? And it's through the draft. I mean,
yeah.
it's been Suber, Lauren Jackson, and Brianna Stewart.
Yep.
Lloyd was drafted as well, but she's always been kind of second fiddle to those three big
She was a
names.
corner piece of championship teams, though. Like she
Yeah,
just, you're right. Those, I mean, Seward was here so long, and then it was
yeah,
the Jackson Stewie were the big part of
yeah,
it. But you're right. They didn't win with Swin Cat, or maybe they did, but I don't think they won with like Swin Cash and these veteran free agents that they signed. The
yeah.
corner pieces are through the draft. Um, I think unless you're New York or Las Vegas, right, you're not getting free agents. So
Yep,
I mean, I guess they got free agents last year. They're just not good enough. So rebuild. All right,
yep.
that was a long answer to number one, but it
It was a great question, Justin.
needed our
Thank you.
attention. Thank you, Justin, for the question.
All right, our next question
Yep, you can ask
from
me.
yeah, from
You even
Lewis.
know what this means?
Yeah, I do. What should the Sounders do with an open designated player slot? Which
Uh,
I'm gonna guess here is the international. Like you get one
it
spot
doesn't
to
have to be. It could be
spend the
anybody.
most
So,
on, right?
well, so yeah, it you get the most. So Albert Rusnak is has been, I believe, a designated player, and it looks like they're probably going to re-sign him as a designated player. But they had João Paulo, who was a DP at one point. I think he was last year, and then Rui Diaz is gone. So they have open spots. I don't know that anyone in the MLS is a designated player type free agent acquisition. So yeah, it's gonna be some international guy we've never heard of if they do it, which would be great. But I wanted to ask this question because there is a rumor through Sounder at Heart, you can go read, that the Sounders are in advanced talks to make a trade to get Jesus Ferreira, um, who is a 23-year-old forward, who is a young designated player who's in the final year of his contract with an option for 2026, and then maybe also Paul Arriola, who played for the U.S. team as well from Dallas. Um, and that would be, I think, really good. So apparently the trade is hinging on the Sounders negotiating with Ferreira for a contract extension. So I think he would become a designated player. He's 23. If I have it right, I believe Ferreira has, yeah, he's played on the national team. So he's had some national team time. He's the kind of player the Sounders should go get. So that is what I think is going to happen. It sounds like it's in advanced talks, and I would be excited about that. So there you go, Kev.
I was well informed.
Yeah. Well, let's hope it happens. All right. We're going to move on to the next question. Jim, loyal listener, sometimes free advertising receiver. Jim asks, is cereal a soup?
Oh, that's for me.
Well, we're going to
No,
both answer it, but you go first.
no, because to me, a soup has to taste good when you warm it up.
Hmm.
And I would never warm up cereal.
No.
First of all, I mean, I'm gonna just fill in the blank and say cereal with milk, right? So cereal should, the soup should be liquidy,
Yeah.
right? So yeah, but I'm never gonna warm up cereal and milk. It's gonna
Isn't
taste
like
bad.
gazpacho cold?
Yeah, and I don't consider that soup. I consider it
Oh.
garbage. I lived in Spain and I was offered it and I tried it and I was like, I don't get it. It's bad tomato soup.
Mm.
Did I offend Spaniards that are listening? Did I offend anyone that likes
I think
gazpacho?
it's a good take, Kev. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't mind it, but it was a solid hot take. Hot take.
Do you think
I
cereal is a soup?
I was, but then you totally convinced me. So you did a great
Yeah.
job.
Yeah.
I think you're right. I mean, if you look up Wikipedia or AI says it should have like meat or chunks in it, which grossed me out when I started thinking about cereal having
Yeah.
meat in it.
Yeah.
But I think you're right. It should be hot.
I do have a follow-up question for you. Do you prefer this red salmon Ivar's clam chowder or the
Mm.
classic original
Classic
white?
original.
Classic original. Okay.
Yeah. In fact, that sounds really good right now.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man,
Yeah. It's a
I gotta
good
get some.
craving.
I gotta go get some Ivars soon. That sounds delicious.
But there's a, what's the place in West Seattle that's really good too? The alternative
Spuds
Spuds.
done okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but the clam chowder's not the same. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Duke's has got decent clam chowder.
Yeah.
But anyway, I want some clam chowder now. All right. Well, people are listening to this on Monday morning and they're like, "This is gross. Who wants clam chowder on Monday morning?"
Yeah, someone's listening to be like, ah, I have a craving too.
Yeah, they're like, cold clam chowder, nummy."
That is a soup.
Oh,
All
now I'm
right.
confused. All right, I'm gonna ask you this. Ready?
Yeah.
You're gonna answer first. This is a good one. This is from my sister,
Yeah.
the person who got us all the questions for the most part. Actually, she didn't get us any of the first three, so this is the first one. If money was no object, what Seattle sports team would you want season tickets for?
Courtside Sonics.
They don't exist yet.
Okay, if they existed, yes.
Well, yeah,
Then
that'd
my
be my answer too. Yeah.
courtside Washington Huskies men's basketball.
Really?
Yeah. Have you ever sat courtside for a game that you weren't coaching?
I
Not at the high school level. Like, have you ever watched a college game courtside
was
or
gonna
a
say I
pro
was
game?
courtside today twice at some CYO games. It's pretty intense. Um, actually sat courtside yesterday at a fifth grade AAU game. That was pretty awesome. Let's get beyond that level.
Yeah.
The closest I've been is like I don't think I've been in the first row. I think I've been in like the second or third row.
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
mean, one time at Husky at whatever it's called, Heck
Yeah.
Ed. I always call it Heck Ed.
Yeah.
It wasn't a Husky game. I
Yeah.
sat courtside. It was like a high school game or something that I wasn't coaching, but it was like a
Yeah.
showcase event. It's really cool to sit courtside.
I think the coolest thing
Have
about,
you?
yeah, I've sat courtside. Well, I sat courtside at one Huskies basketball game when I was a kid.
Oh,
And the one thing that I noticed is that it's so much faster
yeah,
watching courtside. Even if you're in the same arena watching and you're like a section behind, like in the regular seats,
yeah.
the speed, you don't capture the sense of speed that's happening on the court. I did sit courtside all the time when I was a manager for the LMU men's basketball team, but I usually had a towel or water bottle in my hands. It's just
Yeah,
not the same thing.
it's not the same.
You see
Uh,
those NBA courtside people that, you know, at some point they
mm,
started doing this where you sit right next to the
the
coaches.
bench,
Yeah.
yeah, it's so wild.
Who would you want to sit next to during an NBA game? Is there an NBA coach you'd want to kind of be near and hear what they're saying and stuff?
Yeah, I mean, there's a good list. But there's different types, right? Like,
Yeah.
so Nick Nurse, I really like, even though the Sixers are terrible this year. Like, I just think he's a really good coach. I think he's undervalued. I think the Thunder coach, who I can't say his name, is awesome. But like Doc Rivers would be fascinating
Yeah,
for different reasons. Like he's very entertaining. Um, Quinn Snyder, who is a local guy. I
yeah,
think he's cool. His Sally Jesse Raphael glasses this year. If you
yeah.
don't know what I'm talking about, Google Quinn Snyder's red glasses. Yeah, there's lots of guys. That reminded me when you said the speed. I did. I think I've said this before. I sat once um, on the ice for Kraken, and it was
Oh yeah,
incredible. And you could
yeah,
slap the boards way cool.
yeah.
That's the best place to be,
I
quote,
actually
courtside.
I can commiserate because I was at a San Jose Sharks uh on the glass
Yeah, it's
and
awesome.
the pounding and
Yeah.
when you see it coming at you
Oh, you like
and then you're like
flinch.
you know it's coming and
Yeah.
it gets you every time. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Um, that might be my second choice if I can't pick the
Kraken.
it would be the Kraken. Like
Yeah.
I went on Thursday. I told you I was going.
Yeah.
Listener Drew took me to the game. He's not, oh, sorry, Drew. He's my friend. Made it sound like he was a listener and he like called in and invited. We've been friends for a long time. But I love going to Kraken games. It's just I spent, I don't know, $60 on food and drink. That part is hard to get over. So
Yeah.
with a season ticket, I would like to be like a Diamond Club member at the Mariners where I could get the free food and drink. And
Yeah.
then every day my food is paid for. I've even thought, Kev, is it worth it to go in on Diamond Club tickets if you took the savings for your dinner every night? Would it equal the cost of your ticket? Because the food is incredible and you get that access behind in the
Yeah.
little restaurant and you get free drinks. And I think if you went every time you could pay it off, economics don't quite work that way because
This would be a great post, by the way.
because you could just eat at home and it would be cheaper. So it
Yes.
doesn't quite work, but Diamond Club's pretty close up on the list. Um, One last thing I want to say about season tickets. You said being so close. One time for a Sonics game when I was like 15, 16,
Yeah.
we were behind the basket, like fourth row, and they were playing the Utah Jazz. And Carl Malone's arms was the most amazing thing I'd ever seen. It
They're like
was the
biceps.
size of my
Yeah.
torso. I was like,
Um,
what? Now, Karl Malone turns out he's not a great human, but
yes.
his arms are something.
Yeah.
So there you go. We picked the Sonics. We both picked the
Yeah.
Sonics.
Yeah.
All right, speaking of the Sonics, I'm gonna ask you this again. I'm just gonna keep
Yeah.
going. Let's do it together. Let's draft our dream Sonics team with NBA players. Can include college prospects. This is from Hannah. Thank you, Hannah.
Yeah. I know a role player that I want is
Yeah, do we
Matisse.
have to have some
Yeah.
limitations or on this? Like we can't just make an all-star team, right? It has to be.
No, I think you have to have I think you'd say the average NBA team has maybe two bona fide stars, right?
Yeah.
So I think we have to limit ourselves
All
there.
right, let's start there.
Yeah.
We'll get to your role player in a second.
Yeah.
And it can't be Ryan Appleby. So, who are the two stars we'd want to build the Sonics around if we had a dream world?
Ah, God, give me someone on the USA, Team USA, right? That's kind of a younger. God, I
Yeah,
don't
it's
want to
interesting.
build
Like,
around
would you
Tyrese
want
Halliburton. That sounds
Whoa,
depressing.
that's your first. Oh, you wouldn't. Thank God.
Yeah.
You think about like a lot of the best. So LeBron, Anthony Davis, Jokic, um, Giannis,
Steph, they're all getting
Steph, they're
old.
all older, right?
That's why no one's
Brian.
watching the NBA right now. It's
Oh, don't
sad.
start. Don't start. People are watching. That is a red herring trying to get you to click. It's clickbait. The NBA is fine. They signed a billions and billion-dollar deal. Um, I mean, it's hard. Jokic isn't going to play long enough, so I'm going to go Luca.
Mm.
God, I don't know
I'm
if I want to
surprised you don't
watch.
want Paulo Banchero. That seems like a
He'd
good
be a
place to
good one. Let's
start.
put Luca and Paolo together.
Okay, that sounds good.
Let's put them on the team. That's a good combo to start. Now,
That gets us in the playoffs.
give me your role player.
I really like Matisse. I
He's
don't,
not even
yeah.
in the NBA.
Is he out?
I mean, sorta. I
I
don't think
thought he was
he.
on the Blazers.
I mean, is he?
Does he play?
By the way, I just coached a game in his old high school today, and they
Oh,
had his
nice.
number on the wall. And one
Yeah,
of the
they
kids
retired
on the
his
team I was
jersey.
coaching said, "Oh, Matisse Thybulle went here." I was like,
Yeah,
"Yeah, dude.
dude, he's making $11 million, averaging five
All
point.
right."
Oh wait, that
Uh,
was last season.
last year he's not. He hasn't played this year.
Oh wow.
So there you go. Nice job with your role player.
So
Great
yeah, he
call.
was a role player.
God, that was embarrassing.
So we want five players, right? Let's five players and two bench guys.
I mean, give me Cooper Flag from Duke. That guy is incredible. I 100% want him on my team. I think he's going to be a star. Add on, I mean, it's not fair. He's too much of a star. I was going to say Devin Booker, but
Well, you
he's
got to
too
think
good.
of guys that we'd be able to get
Oh,
in the
Jalen
expansion draft.
Johnson for Atlanta. He's incredible.
Yeah.
Jalen Johnson went to Duke. He is incredible. I love him. I love his game. I want him on the team. And he's not a star yet, but he's going to be. So it's kind of cheating. Jalen Johnson.
God,
So then we need like a shooter.
yeah, how do you like mm, Tyler Hero?
No,
Hayden
no, absolutely
Pritchard
not.
is second in three-pointers made in the NBA.
I mean, give me my guy Malik Monk
Oh yeah,
from the
he's fun.
Kings.
Yeah, he's
I
fun.
love Malik Monk. I've told you that
Yeah.
when I coached with Mike Kelly and we went down to Vegas for this huge tournament. We coached against the Ball brothers in Chino
Yeah.
Hills, and they scored 97 points on us. And then we coached against Shaq's son and Jules Bernard, who went to UCLA. At that tournament was Malik Monk, and he was in high school. And I'm like, I love that guy. I love everything about his game. And it was like a running joke with a couple of the guys who are now in like their 30s. And I'll still text them and be like,
Did
Malik
you
Monk
see
went off
Malik
tonight.
Monk?
They're like, we know
Yeah.
you love him. So
Yeah.
give me Malik Monk on that
That's
team.
me, and I know you don't like Gonzaga, but what's his face on the Wizards? Corey Kispert.
Oh, I'd throw Corey Kispert on my bench for sure to shoot
Yeah,
some threes.
Corey
Absolutely.
Kispert destroyed. God bless that team's heart. I was an assistant for Kennedy Catholic in 2016. We played this non-conference game at like a community college, and Corey Kispert shredded
Was he Kings or
us.
did he go somewhere else, like
He was at
Colfax?
Kings. He was
Yeah.
at Kings, and you could tell like he just you've seen it multiple times,
That dude
right?
was good.
The
Yeah.
game slows down for the player. They're just like going through the motions. They're just hitting shot like they make the really difficult shots look easy. We were down by
Yeah.
like 20 and he had like a good portion of the points. So
Yeah. All right, let's round out our bench with Ryan Appleby and Terrence Ross. And
Terrence Ross, the famous TikToker.
I know this wouldn't work cap wise, but I
Yeah.
would 100% want Jalen Suggs on my team, who's a Gonzaga guy also.
Yeah.
He is the best on ball defender in the league right now. He is so fun to watch.
Yeah. That's a good question.
Yep. And she's a Blazers fan too, so she probably appreciates your Matisse, even though you didn't know that he doesn't play basketball anymore. So
Yeah.
I can't believe that he was your first pick. Good job, Kev.
Oh
All right.
God, this this question.
Ask me the question.
What do you think about the history of capitalism and its impending failure as a dominant economic system? All right.
That's also from Lewis, the best man at my wedding. I was the best man at his wedding.
That's a
Uh,
great
I,
question.
I said, what a downer, Lewis. Thanks. I also think he might be right. It's possible
Yeah.
that that it's coming. It's failing. But you know what? I hope before it fails, the Sonics come back and someone pays an absurd amount of money for it. So that's what I think about it. What do you
Yeah.
think, Kev?
What do I think about capitalism and its impending failure? Yeah, I mean, pure capitalism is no good. That's why we need regulation. That's why we need government regulation.
Oh, you're not a
Um,
true free market guy.
no, no. True free market leads to um, bad actors.
Should we get into whether you're a socialist or not, though?
I mean, maybe I am because I despise pay. I've learned to despise paywalls unless I'm truly offering something new. If I'm just recycling other people's things and passing it off as yeah, I'll just leave it there.
Let me tell you, I think you'll appreciate this. This is part of the failure of capitalism, I think.
Yeah,
It's in fairness. I have told my AP economics class that I teach when I'm explaining a free market, and the United States is not a true free market because we have unemployment
regulations.
benefits. We have unemployment benefits, we have Social Security, we have welfare, we have
Yeah,
all these government assistance programs created in the New Deal, most of them under FDR and continued. And even people who claim to be free market also don't want to get rid of some of those things, right? They like tax breaks and different things that they get that are not truly free market.
yeah,
But when I say if you compare us to other countries, we truly are much closer to a free market. And they're like, "Well, what do you mean?" And I say, "Okay, I want you to think of all the ridiculous things that are sold in this country. And they're only sold because people say they want them. Supply and demand, right?"
yeah.
So the one I give is the Snuggie. I think the Snuggie is the most ridiculous product. And I know people love it, and now people wear Comfies, which is just a Snuggie rebranded, right? So a Snuggie, you know what I say? Put on some pants and a sweatshirt.
Yeah,
That's all you got to do. And my class gets mad because they're like, "Oh, I love a Snuggie." And I'm like, "Do you know that there's all these knockoff brands like Fleecies with a Z, Blankies with a Z? Now they have the Comfy. My kids have Comfies. They think they're
yeah,
great. It's just a Snuggie.
yeah.
You're cold on the couch, throw a blanket on.
I mean, I
But you know
love,
what?
yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry, I
No,
interrupted
no,
you.
no, no. I was just gonna say I love capitalism because theoretically we could put our podcast behind a paywall, charge $1, and call the listeners VIP listeners and charge them $1.
Why would you tell our strategy to everybody? It's coming.
This is how we're gonna.
2025.
This is yeah. We're gonna quit our day jobs and we're gonna charge $1 for our VIP podcast.
Well, my point is that people will buy it. People are going to buy all kinds of stuff. And it used to be when I was growing up, that QVC channel where people would just be like, that looks good.
Yeah,
Somebody's selling it and they'd buy it online. Now it's just Amazon. People just go on Amazon or Instagram ads. They suck you in all the time.
yeah.
Even people who are great consumers are like, man, I need this. You know what? So is capitalism going to fail? I don't know. Isn't Bitcoin worth like $1 million? So yeah, it's probably going to fail.
Man, that got deep.
That
Now I'm
was
thinking
good.
about college football and the landscape. You could go $1 million, a million ways with that question.
Yeah, the only thing worse is this next question.
What's the path forward for the Seahawks with Geno? You know, if it's a truly a free market, we could just drop him and replace him, but
Yeah,
we're stuck because of the
regulated.
rules.
It's not baseball. Baseball's a true free market, basically. Closest we have in sports.
Yeah. What's the path forward with Geno Smith? Well, this is a new question now that he's potentially injured.
Oh man. I'll tell you what the path forward is not.
Sam Howell.
Sam Howell. My God. He looked like the worst quarterback to play football in the history of the game today.
Was it a
I
mistake for the Seahawks not to trade up and get a quarterback this past NFL draft?
That's a good question
When they
because
asked him the question, Schneider said, "It's Howell. He's our future."
please no. I mean, do you remember when Geno came in for Russ in that Rams game a couple years ago? Well, obviously a few years ago, and he
Yeah.
looked good, and everyone got juiced, and they kind of almost came back and won.
Yeah.
Rams were really good. When Sam Howell came in today, all he did was let the pocket collapse around him and get sacked like it's an avalanche
Yeah.
on a mountain where he was just helpless.
Like the anti-Damon Williams. Like
Yes.
Damon Williams would run 20 yards.
And then his interception, they showed like four angles of it. He just threw to a guy on the other
Yeah.
team. Like just threw
Yeah.
it to him. Sam
Yeah.
Howell's terrible. So now I'm like all screwed up because I also don't want Geno to be the future to answer this question from Drew.
Yeah.
Geno leads the league in red zone touch interceptions. I wish it was touchdowns. Um, it's been a red zone problem for 2 straight years. He's just good enough to get them to 9 wins ish, which they'll be lucky to do now. I'm a little worried. Well, partly because he's hurt. and partly because they play the Vikings next week and they finish with the Rams. And I'm just, I don't know. I don't think they're going to do great. But I know I swung a lot from their 4 game winning streak, but the way they looked tonight was just atrocious. These
Yeah,
center and guard who are rookies who are just bad, getting bulldozed by the Packers. The defense got gashed by Josh Jacobs in the first half. And
I saw those runs.
okay, but anyway, we don't want to talk about the Seahawks. We want to talk about Geno. What do you think?
I think that you just play the contract out. I mean, that's the smart thing to do.
Just
You said it
work from
yourself.
home.
He's good enough for 9 wins. I don't.
Yeah.
That puts him in the top 20-ish of the NFL. Like, so he's better than 10 other quarterbacks. Maybe he's better than 15.
Yeah, I guess he's under contract for next year, so why not just
I'd say write it out. I
I
mean,
mean he could hold out, I guess, if he
yeah,
wants, but like good for you. If he holds out, then I'm not messing with that. But he does get a $10 million roster bonus if he's on the roster in March. That's interesting.
yeah,
Um, I don't know. Yeah, I mean he's still cheap relative, right, to other quarterbacks. He's going to be 36 at the end of it. You don't I mean people have talked about extending him. You absolutely do not.
nope.
Um,
Agents did a bad job.
oh, there it is. The yawn. Every podcast.
How many questions do we have left? Oh, we only have
Oh
like
my
three
God, you're just
left.
done talking about
Yeah.
Geno, clearly.
I
All
mean, do you
right,
want to
let's.
still talk about Gino?
No, I don't. I absolutely do not. All right, moving on. All right, this is from Drew. You're gonna ask it to me.
Yeah, looking at next year's Mariners games, away games, what would you recommend as a good series to attend, or
This is
as the best
yeah,
series,
this is a great question. Like
taking
Drew,
into account time of year, stadium,
Drew, it's a
location?
it's a phenomenal question. Like to think about a road trip, or or not even a road trip, just an opponent's place to go based on time of year, all that, right? So I'm I'm taking April out of it. Okay.
Yeah,
I mean, they open their first road trip, I believe, is at the Giants. That is at the top of the list. That stadium is phenomenal, but you cannot go to San Francisco in April.
yep.
Right? I mean, it's going to be so freezing.
It's gonna, well, not, it's gonna be cold, but I don't think freezing.
Well, I'm not
That's
going.
dramatic.
I'm not, it's not dramatic. I'm
I'm gonna
not.
go. I think I can go. Is it during the week?
There's
If you,
Friday, April 4th is the home opener. It's a 1:35, and then there's weekend
yeah,
games.
yeah.
The
Oh,
Red
I'm
Sox are
going.
also in April, which is phenomenal, but you can't go to Boston in April either. There's nothing good to go to in May. And also
I disagree.
it's too early.
No, this is the series I would go to. I'd go to Houston before it gets really bad. Houston
What
on the
is wrong
road,
with you?
4 game
Why?
series.
What's fun about going in there?
There's have you been you see we've already gone through this. You've never been to Houston. The food is great. Houston in Texas is one of the most diverse cities, so you're gonna get all types of food. Um, there's everything there because it's Houston. There's everything in Texas. Minute Maid Park is an above average MLB park. And there's sort of a rivalry between the Astros and the Mariners. And the Mariners are in a hitter friendly park. So you might see away game dingers. I've sold it
This
to
is a
whoever's listening.
this is a horrific answer. Like this is your worst answer of the year.
Uh,
You don't go to Houston. We've talked about Houston before. You love Houston for some reason. That stadium is like a toy stadium. I've never been there. I do want to visit it, but it's not a historic stadium. It's not worth it. Here's what you do. Okay? I'm going to say this is my recommendation. It's summer. You can get PTO, time off from your work because you're probably not a teacher. You go to Baltimore you fly in on August 13th at night. You go to Baltimore the next morning. It's a day game at Camden Yards. Then
I
you
see where you're going
get a
now.
rental car and you go up to New York and you go to the Met series.
Or you take the train, you
You know,
take the Amtrak.
sure, that's
Yeah.
fine. Then you follow the Mariners and Mets because they're playing in the Little League Classic in Williamsport, Pennsylvania, which is super cool on Sunday the 17th. And then you follow them to Philly for the Monday afternoon game and you fly home. Tuesday morning or Monday night.
And you get to watch Bryce Harper on Monday.
Yeah. I might be
And
doing
Juan
this.
Soto.
I might be
Um,
doing this. I might
Juan
go.
Soto in Williamsport, he's gonna friggin' hit like double home runs.
It's gonna be awesome. That would be the way to go. Even if you just went to one of those three, that's the way to go. And
How are you gonna go
I'm
if it's
not
in
gonna
August
I'm
when
not
it's
gonna be able to
school
go.
year's gonna start?
It's when I'm gonna have to go back. It's a bummer.
We need to raise the prices of our podcast
All
so we
right,
can
Kev, let me
afford
flip it on
trips.
you then. I agree. All right. So I'm going to switch the order here. You'll be able to follow me. So Drew
Yeah.
also asked, let's do the same thing for Husky football away games next
Oh
year.
yeah, I like
What
this.
would you recommend?
Okay, let me pull up the schedule first.
Oh, good preparation.
Um, okay, so we're at
They got the order now too because they have the dates finally, which is good.
so at Michigan is probably like the game.
Yeah,
Um,
that's October 18th. That still could be
that's it's not
nice-ish,
before,
nice-ish
yeah,
weather.
and I've been
Yeah.
in the Midwest around that time of year, and it's tolerable. And so Michigan would be number one.
Oh, it's yeah, I'm looking at this. I mean, it's
Yeah.
not even
I
close.
I think Wisconsin Camp Randall, but
Yeah,
then
that's
you're in
number two.
November and you're getting cold, and I think that's it.
That's
Then
it. Yep,
yeah,
that's it. Like College Park, Maryland would be cool to go to a basketball game. I'm not going to a football
yeah,
game.
I've been. Fun
You've been to
fact,
a
I've
basketball
been.
game there?
No, I've been at University of Maryland for
Oh,
National History Day.
oh yeah, baby.
It was at College Park, University of Maryland.
Nice, nice. That's cool.
Um,
Yeah, Camp Randall would be cool. I would actually rather go when it's cold for some reason, even though I'd
yeah,
probably be miserable. And to be there for jump around at the end of the third quarter, I think is when they do it, when they do the
yeah,
House of Pain and they go crazy. That's actually, if I made a football bucket list, that
you'd want to
Wisconsin's
be
on it.
there.
But
Yeah,
Michigan first. I've never been to Michigan. I would
it's
love
the
to go.
big house.
Yeah, you got to go. That's number one. It's not even close.
Yeah,
So Drew,
UCLA
you
road
need to
game.
go.
Yeah,
Drew, you need to go to Michigan, and I
yeah,
think you could make this happen with you and your friends. You could do it. I won't be on the list, but that's okay.
yeah,
I'm always the guy that's like, "Hey, do you want to come?" It's like, I'm a teacher. I can't go. We only get 2 days off during the school year.
yeah.
Well, that's yeah, obviously not totally true. We're about to enter into Christmas break, baby.
That's nice.
1 week, Kev. 1 week of these children, my children and the children I teach. Whew. It's
You
gonna be a
can do it.
long week. It's gonna be a long week. I'm gonna tell you that right now. It's gonna be a long week. All right, we have one more question.
This is a good one. Given the complexity of college football recruitment with NIL, do you see more major programs hiring GMs to build rosters like the NFL?
This is from Bryce. Bryce is a Stanford. I think he's a Stanford graduate, a Stanford guy. So they're looking at the Andrew Luck hire. Bryce, nice job asking a better question than your wife, who also asked a question but didn't make the list. That was a little shot. She'll appreciate that, Carolyn. Um, yeah, I think this is totally the way people go. Don't you?
Yeah, football coaches want to coach, right? And then you might have Belichick where he wants to do both still.
I don't
But
even know. I do think the future might be coaches like being on the field people really coaching and doing so much less recruiting than they used to.
yeah, which I think is probably it makes sense to me because the job would just be insane. Like the way the job functions now
Yeah.
is you're the CEO and you're the coach. That would
Yeah.
be the equivalent in a school of being
Yeah.
the president and a full-time teacher
Right.
of the most important classes, right? So I don't think it's good for anybody.
Yeah. I know more about basketball coaches just talking to some college coaches over the years, but in like when they would be, in Seattle on a Tuesday, not seeing their kids, they're immediately leaving. The
Yeah.
assistants especially leave like right after a game, go recruit all season. Then they're in summer, they're in Vegas in sweaty gyms watching, you know,
Yeah, and
kids.
that's for filling a roster of maybe
Yeah.
you need to fill a roster of 12. College football, you need to fill a roster of 85. And then there's guys leave. There's like 20 people leaving. You have to fill 20 spots. You have to recruit.
I
It's
wonder
ridiculous.
if this is true though. Doesn't it feel like there's less of coaches going out For football, that's probably not true. They probably go on Friday nights. I bet all the assistants are at games. They are. I've heard that before, but it just feels like basketball with the summer circuit because football doesn't really have that as much. They have
Yeah.
7-on-7s and stuff, but the AAU circuit is where you recruit. Like I think I've said this before. When I had college level players, coaches didn't contact me at all as a high
Yeah.
school coach. They went
Yeah.
straight to AAU. So that's all July. They're just on the road. I don't know.
Well, yeah,
Basketball might be worse.
yeah. Well, yeah, because you can go to a basketball tournament and see everyone, right? Or
It's
a good chunk.
You can. And also,
Yeah.
but for football, it's a bigger deal to host weekends. Like you write about this all the time.
Yeah.
You get all these great scoops. Like these guys visiting campus do it together on game days, and game days are finite. They're on weekends, and or I guess they're all over the place now, but they're
Yeah.
once a week. So it's an event around that
Yeah.
versus basketball's just like endless. I don't know. It sounds terrible. So yes, GMs are coming for sure. You know, aside from Andrew Luck, St. Bonaventure obviously took Woj from ESPN to be their
Yeah.
GM, right? Or I don't know if they call it a GM, but that's what he's doing.
I kind of want to do this. That sounds fun to me,
I
but
mean, being a GM, if you like fantasy sports and I mean,
yeah.
right? We all like dream of being a GM to a certain extent.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to be a GM of baseball. That's the one I wanted to be.
Yeah, it's
I'd
too
be
many
better at basketball.
contracts,
I'd be
dude.
better.
Yeah.
I'd be better at basketball from my knowledge of the sport. But
Yeah. Yeah.
um, yeah, that would be fun. That'd be a good one.
That would be fun. That was a
All right.
great question.
Any of the bonus questions you want to get to, or are we good?
I think we're good. I think we can move to our and save it for I think we should do an actual traditional mailbag on our
Oh, that
C10
would
Sports
that would require
Substack.
us to write.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well,
We should do
okay.
it.
Okay. I'm almost on break.
Yeah.
Maybe the pen will
Yeah.
start working again. Is it a pen? No, typing. All right. Top five this week. Do we
Top
have
five.
a song that's gonna go behind this as we talk? No.
Give me your favorite one and then I'll do a little
No, I
caroling.
mean like no, that I always want it to be I got five on it when we're
I
doing
got
top
okay.
five, which is
Yep.
not a Christmas song. All right, Kev.
We're gonna draft
Yeah, let's
Christmas
draft. You go
songs.
first.
All right. Away in a manger. Hits every time.
Are you serious right now? You are
Uh
serious. Away in a Manger is your number one overall pick.
Oh, now that when you put it that way, no, absolutely not.
No, you're rattled. Away in a Manger hits none of the time. Okay? Away in the Manger doesn't even hit in church on Christmas Eve.
You know, Caroline says you roast me and I never fight back. I'm gonna fight back. I think it's a calming song. I think it puts you in the mood for the reason for the season.
Oh, you're gonna go
Um,
biblical on me now?
yeah,
What are you doing,
yeah.
Kev? Like,
So away and I'll double down. Away and Manger.
okay, well, that was a terrible pick, and Caroline's right. Um, Obviously, the number one overall pick is All I Want for Christmas by Mariah Carey. Like, it's not even close.
Oh,
It's the greatest Christmas song. People can pretend like they don't like it. When
yeah.
that thing hits,
It
it
hits.
changes your life. Like, you're just like,
Yeah,
it's Christmas time, baby. Let's go.
yeah.
Okay, you get the
Damn,
next pick.
that was really good.
Also, mine was less biblical.
Um,
Mine was not the reason for the season.
I like 12 Days of Christmas. I
What is
like
happening right now?
I'm just naming carols.
Yeah, you are.
I like
And also,
how
are you like 71 years old? Away in a Manger in 12 Days of Christmas? Can you start Googling or something? Can you pull up your Spotify? Can you bring something to this
Okay,
conversation?
do you want my
No,
actual
that was
okay.
your second
No,
pick.
no,
You're
no, no,
done.
wait. Give me O Tannenbaum from the Charlie Brown Christmas.
It didn't get better, Kev. You just made yourself 85 years old instead of
It is
71.
such a good Christmas album. I think it's the best Christmas album. The Charlie
Kevin,
Brown Christmas. Okay, continue.
there are people listening who are like, is this a podcast for Depends Underwear? Like, what's happening right now? This is an old person podcast. Okay, I will keep it young with the number two pick, Santa Tell Me by Ariana Grande.
Oh yeah,
Slaps.
that's actually pretty good.
Also, not biblical.
Okay, I'm pulling up my Spotify. I have a
Please
Christmas
do. Please do.
2015.
Oh God.
Christmas 2015. There's 20 songs on this, and I got a good one for you.
Yeah, please do.
I got
Yeah.
Mistletoe by Justin Bieber.
Okay, there you go. You've brought it finally. That is a good Christmas song. That
Yeah,
is a good Christmas
that
song.
is like
I thought
young
you were gonna
Justin
say
Bieber.
Deck the Halls. I thought you were gonna just stay absolutely geriatric. Okay. That's your third pick.
Yeah,
Great.
good. I got two more. I can
All right,
salvage
this is
this.
where it gets hard because those were my top two easy, and you gave them both to me. Uh
Santa, tell me. Yeah, I like that one.
yeah, it's better when she sings it, but yeah. Um, this is hard. My third pick is gonna be Christmas, parentheses, Baby Please Come Home by Darlene Love. It's
Who's
really good.
Darlene Love?
Who's Darlene Love? Like, Kev, can you have any culture to you whatsoever?
She country singer?
No, absolutely not. This is Motown.
Oh,
Do I need to
wow.
play this for you? I don't even think it'll play
It
on the
won't play, but
podcast.
I'll
All
play
right.
it after.
Oh my God, Kev. Like,
Do you like Pentatonics?
yeah, they're solid for Christmas time.
Yeah, they have a lot of good ones.
Yeah.
Um,
Is that gonna do something? What's happening right now?
yeah, I mean, I just don't know which one to choose. So I also have a high school Christmas playlist that when I was a teacher, I'd play music was my thing. So as kids would enter the classroom, there'd be music playing,
Yep.
and I would curate the playlist from them.
Hmm.
But the Christmas playlist I controlled.
Kev, is the
So
reason you're not a teacher because they laughed you out of the classroom when you started playing O Tannenbaum?
I had a philosophy teacher in college that played classical music.
I get
Yeah,
it. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. What,
Um,
so your thing was like, I'm gonna make you fall asleep by the oldest songs ever.
yeah.
You're like, hey
Speaking of,
guys, here's a Christmas banger. It's called Away in a Manger.
um, yeah, I think I'd go with like I see "I'll Be Home for Christmas" by Pentatonics.
Yeah, that works.
It's a good one.
You're getting slightly better. Okay. My fourth pick. Uh this one is it's a little off the radar. It's called Celebrate Me Home by Kenny Loggins. Kenny
Kenny
Loggins is
Loggins.
an American great. Like I don't these people who are anti Kenny Loggins need to get out of my life. Kenny Loggins is great. Kenny Loggins of Playing with the Boys, Danger Zone, Caddyshack theme, Kenny Loggins, 80s icon.
Yeah.
Celebrate Me Home is like it just hits different. It's great. It's a really, really good one.
I like a good hip hop Christmas rap. Um, Christmas in Harlem by Kanye
Hollis.
West.
Oh, and Harlem. I thought you were gonna go Christmas in Hollis by Run DMC, the original.
So this is probably Christmas in Harlem is probably like a play on it. I haven't
Yeah.
heard that one by Run DMC, but
Yes, you
uh,
have, Kevin.
I probably have.
God.
So it's
I need to
Christmas in.
send you a Spotify playlist after this.
Oh man, people are rolling their eyes. I've been exposed.
It's okay.
Can you
But
believe
you
someone would
also
pay a
just went
dollar
Kanye.
to hear about this? It was before there's pre-Kanye before he went crazy and post-Kanye. By the way, I was at the concert where he kind of fell off the deep end.
Wait, really?
Yeah, it was at the Key Arena in 2016.
No,
This was
I was at
during
that concert.
were we
No, I
both?
wasn't. No, I wasn't. I was in 2008. That was much earlier.
Yeah, yeah. This was the last thing that I saw at Key Arena, but he had like a platform thing that he would rap on that would like float throughout the arena,
Yeah.
and he just went on a monologue, and I was like, "This is what I paid for. This is
Yeah.
capitalism. I chose to
Yeah.
pay for this."
Right.
And he was just talking, and
Thank
I wanted to come to watch him rap.
Right. And thankfully people didn't have to pay $1 for this top five that you're participating in. All right, my fifth one, I'm gonna go with This Christmas by Donny Hathaway. It's another original great. I'm also gonna give some shout outs to Underneath the Tree, Kelly Clarkson.
Oh,
Please
that one's
come
good.
Please Come Home for Christmas. The Eagles, very sad. It's actually not a great Christmas song, but it's a great song. And Santa Claus is Coming to Town, the Bruce Springsteen version is quite good. So I wish you had come prepared to battle me on this, but I just absolutely decimated you.
The first two, man, I had to recover.
Yeah.
I had to recover. I
I
thought we were
can't.
going with
I,
classics.
yeah, I didn't
Like,
know you were gonna be in church for the next 2 weeks leading up to Christmas, just singing "Away in a Manger." And I do. I will say on Christmas Eve, uh, Silent Night and Oh Holy Night,
or yeah.
they hit different on that night.
I will say, if you want a really fun, hip tune and that you haven't heard before, it's called Burrito Sabanero. It's a Mexican carol,
Oh,
Mexican American carol, and it's really catchy. It's about a donkey.
now you really did need to. You really did need to warm up though, Kev.
Yeah,
You got there eventually.
yeah.
You brought some great stuff there at the end, Kev. And you know I love you on this Christmas
Uh,
season.
yeah. So we will, we'll probably podcast toward the end
Yeah.
of the year. Yeah,
I mean,
there's
I'm not
nothing
going
stopping
anywhere.
us. Yeah. And it's been great. Well, our next one, well, we'll talk about our
It's
next episode.
pre-Christmas,
Yeah,
right? We got
we
one
have
more before Christmas.
a
Yeah.
pre-Christmas bash.
Yeah. Pre-Christmas bash.
Yeah.
All are welcome. You can send us your
Um,
$1 and
uh,
you can send Geno some
yeah.
German ligaments so he can play next week because we need it. And
Uh,
hopefully the Kraken respond tomorrow night or Tuesday
yeah.
night. I am gonna go to a Christmas concert tomorrow night.
Who are you gonna watch
Man,
or
Seattle Prep
listen
Choir,
to?
the
Oh,
choir
nice,
at school. They do a great
nice.
job. I'm gonna go get in the Christmas season, and then
You're gonna be laughing when they sing "Away in a Manger," and you're gonna have to walk out.
I'm gonna bet you $20 right now.
They're not gonna sing
They're
"Away in a
not gonna
Manger."
sing "Away in a Manger." Okay,
All
and
right.
I will tell you the truth. And all listeners, you will wait to see next week if "Away in a Manger" is played. See you later.
See you next week. Thanks for listening.